Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Samantha's Beauty Confessions. Today I'm joined by my friend Jen, who is Hairology by Jen on Instagram, and we talk all things influencing. She talks about how she creates content, where she gets her ideas for it, how she does her editing, how she stays organized and inspired. We also talk about the different tips and tricks that she has for reaching out to brands and starting to build those relationships and hopefully, lead to paid opportunities later. She just is a wealth of knowledge. And I actually found myself like just in awe, I guess is a good word, of all that she was sharing. And I know that you're going to feel the exact same way. Her story is super inspiring. She's so smart and so talented. And it just goes to show, why her page has taken off like it has and has had as much success as it has. I don't want to spend too much time on this intro just because I know how valuable what's coming is, whether you are a content creator yourself or just someone who's fascinated by that world. I know that you're going to love it just as much as I did. So let's welcome Jen to the podcast. Hi, Jen. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, I'm excited to chat with you and just hear your story. For everyone that doesn't know, I've been following you on social media on Instagram for a while now, and I've gotten to watch your page grow. Do you want to share a little bit about like when you started your Instagram page and like I guess how long you've been doing that?
Yeah, sure. And I've been following you for a while too, so this is really exciting for me to finally like get and chat, and I really like enjoy your page as well.
Oh,
Oh, so just a little bit about how I ended up getting started. I actually got started on TikTok. I, yeah, I think it was like maybe the end of like 2021, like 22. It's all kind of like a blur to me now. Oh, but I started there originally and I built up a lot of content at the time. And I was working a corporate job while I started up all of my social medias because we were in the midst of COVID. So hairdressers in Canada, it was like a lot more strict and we weren't allowed to work. So unfortunately, like I didn't have much to do, and I also have like a little bit of a unique background where I went to business school as well, and I graduated like 3 weeks into COVID,
oh my
so that
gosh.
was fun. Yeah, so um, because I couldn't work and do hair, I decided I'm like, okay, like let's look for a corporate job, but something hopefully in the beauty world. So I started up my page like midst of COVID, working corporate, everything was work from home. And then I decided I'm like, okay, like things are going well on TikTok. I'm kind of enjoying this. Let's like just transfer the content over to Instagram. And this is kind of when Reels like were really starting to be like pushed. Um, they were kind of just starting to be a thing. So I started to post like honestly not knowing and like not knowing anything. Like I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I'm just gonna do what I'm doing on TikTok and just like repurpose the content without the watermark, just add some hashtags and be consistent. I wasn't consistent for like maybe the first month, and I was like, okay, let's just take this serious. Like work's getting a little slow. I have some time.
Mm-hmm.
And I started posting every day, a reel every day, because I had batched up like so much content from TikTok. And I think it was like I had like four reels like in a row go like viral. Oh, and it was crazy. Like I was like to my sisters, I was like, my page, like it's overwhelming. Like
Mm-hmm.
it just kept growing and growing. I think for like literally a 2 week span, I went from like 10K to like I believe it was like 50 or like almost close to like 90K on
Wow.
like a couple videos. Like it was insane. Like, and I remember my sister, she was like getting married that year and we had her bachelorette party. And we were like, me and my other sister were getting stuff ready for her bachelorette, and she's like, "Your phone is going off." I was like, "I know, it just like won't stop." Like I'm just so confused. It was, and yeah, and like around her bachelorette time, I think this was like right towards like the end of COVID. We were all kind of like getting out of it. Like 2022, like I hit like 100K that same exact time. So it was really fast growth, but I also think it was the time of like it was around the time where a lot of people we had time to sit there on our phone.
Mm-hmm.
Reels were really new and all of that. And I don't find the growth to be as fast anymore, just like that, but it's still definitely there. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
did you grow on TikTok? I know you said you started there. So was that growth really fast too, or was that a little bit slower than Instagram?
Yeah, so that growth was really fast within like I think I decided like it was like before Christmas or right after Christmas. I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna do it. I miss doing hair. It's kind of hard right now during COVID to do it, so I was like, let's just do it. And I think like within the first month, I like when a couple of my videos like did really well. They picked up like educational videos, and they picked up and like I had about like 10K followers, and then it kept growing from there. Or
Mm-hmm.
so I felt like the growth on TikTok and like if you take a look, like my following on TikTok is smaller than my following on Instagram, even though I started on TikTok first. I just find like TikTok, like the algorithm, it's just really hard to figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
and it's grown so much since like when I started on the platform. So yeah, I did pick up pretty fast, and then once I kind of hit 100K, it kind of slowed down a little bit, and also I was like a little bit less consistent at that time of my life because things were doing like picking up really well with like both my pages. Like I was getting a lot more opportunities. So it was just hard to keep up like with
Mm-hmm.
posting every day. I had to take a little bit of a step back and it was a lot of burnout as well. Like I was like, it's not sustainable
Mm-hmm.
to post like multiple times a day. And so I had to like kind of revise like what do I really want this to be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was just like a fun project at the time. Like
Yeah, and you're like, wait, something could come of this, so I need to kind of hone in on something.
yeah, literally. And then like I think like um a month after, which I know this is like very rare, like a month after like I was posting on just TikTok, I remember like I had like this brand reached out to me, design me a hair.
Mm-hmm.
They reached out to me and they're like, I'll pay you for like a video. And I was like, what do you mean you're gonna pay me for a video? Like I've
Yeah.
literally only been doing this for a month. Like I don't really know what I'm doing. And then I was kind of like, okay, maybe this can be something.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like thinking about that. And I remember like going to my dad. I'm like, Dad, like they want to pay me. He's like, what do you mean? He's because like they're very like more old school generation, so they don't really get it. And then he's like, well, do it. Let's see what happens. So
No, I think that's
yeah,
awesome. I was very similar with my first paid thing. I was like, wait, like you want to pay me actual money? Because like I'd gotten PR packages, but I'm like, wait, there could be more that comes of this. It's just I think it's funny because like we know influencers like fashion influencers, but I think the hair influencers was a little bit of a slower build and we came later. So I totally can relate to you being confused and like shocked about all that.
yeah, 100%. I feel like we really did like kind of peak during COVID, and
Mhm.
especially with hairdressers because like we couldn't work. So it's kind of like, well, we have nothing really to do. We might as well like transfer our education on online
Mhm.
and give us like another platform to talk on.
Yeah, because and have you always cuz right now I know that you are like camera facing in a lot of your videos. Have you always done that or did you used to do like client videos as well?
No, I was always more camera facing, and especially just like around the time I think like looking back at it because of COVID, like I couldn't really
Mhm.
um like have clients on there or anything. And then slowly, like the last, I want to say like end of last year, I kind of started to show more like about like haircuts, like try to introduce that side because that's like one of my goals is to make it more of like a platform, not like me just being an influencer. Um, to like show everybody that like there's so many different textures out there and like this is how you can care for like your specific hair type because I have so many clients like 95% of my clientele has all different types of curly hair, wavy hair, textured. So I really want to like give that a light and show that like there is a way to embrace it, to do it. It kind of like take away that negative narrative a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people have about like curly hair and like curly hair stylists and stuff like that, and give it more of like a positive light so a lot of more people can feel confident about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to introduce it, integrate it slowly back in, to see how my audience will take to it. And I think so far it's going pretty well. I mean, we're
So,
getting
because
there.
do you still work in the salon? How many days a week are you like? How would you say you kind of balance out your week?
So what I typically do is I don't take on more clients because I was at the beginning of it all, and like I said, it was just a lot of burnout and I didn't have balance at all. Like
Mm.
it was like working 7 days a week. It wasn't balanced. So I actually got alopecia. And once I got that, I was like, okay, like I have to take a step back. Like it's serious to the
Mm-hmm.
point where my body is being like, you need a break, like you need to stop, and it's reflecting on my scalp now. Oh, and this is my job. So I was like, I can't really have no hair.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I took it serious and I kind of was like, I reached out to like my close knit clientele that I kept on. And I told them, I was like, I was transparent with them, and they all told me like, no, you've got to take care of your health first. So I kind of took a break for a little bit, and then I slowly integrated hair back in. Um, and Now I typically only do it like twice a month, and it's really for like friends, families, like long-standing clients. Just because I can't handle it all. Well, I've learned like I need to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
And I typically ask them to like, if you're comfortable, I try to make it into like another opportunity for filming as well, like kill two birds at one stone. Like I'm trying to work like smarter, not harder.
For sure.
So I'll ask them like, if you're comfortable, then great. If not, I understand, but I'll like use the material then for my platforms. So yeah, so I'll break it up. So I try and do my best like 2 to 3 times a month. I'll do hair and I'll try and like stack everybody together on the one day. And then typically some months don't work out like that because like I'll have a lot more people asking, but that's like my ideal schedule I try to aim for. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you film content, edit content, all of the other things that go into it on the other days. So I know what goes into that, but I'm assuming a lot of listeners don't. So do you want to kind of I don't know if each of your weeks look the same or like do you have a team that helps you with anything?
Yeah, so actually, I currently like, I feel like this year I've really established my team. I was really building it up the last year because I like still trying to do hair and then still trying to juggle life. Like, it's just, you can't do it all.
No.
I've slowly realized, like, being so burnt out, I'm like, okay, I need help, and I can't keep like putting it off. So I finally have a really trustworthy team. Like, it took a little time getting there, but I have one person, she helps me, one VA, she helps me with like captions, hashtags, like just pulling links and stuff. Cause like, you know how time consuming that part can be of
Mhm.
it. And then like, I've really shown her the ropes of being like, okay, I like it done like this and I do this. And it's like, I took the time to really sit there and train her and be like, cause that was a very part, like, it was really hard for me to give up that part, or because I was like, well, she doesn't know like what I'm thinking in my head. She doesn't know this. She does, and I kept like trying to be like someone else can't do it. Like I was holding on to it so
Mhm.
tight, and like my family was telling me like, okay, you need to give it up because you're not going to be able to grow
Mhm.
if I can't give that part. So I just took a lot of time with her, like 3 months, and I was like, okay, like this part when you word it like this, like in the caption, like let's say it's something more like this because that's like generally like what I prefer and what I would say. So over the time, me and her have grown a good relationship, so she understands.
Mhm.
um I have another VA, and I also kind of do have like another side to this business because, as you know, like influencing, it can be a little bit unstable with income. So I like my goal is to really have something that's like passive. I have my blog, and it's all about hair. It's just like more in-depth information about everything I talk about on my page.
Mhm.
So the blog actually generates a little bit of money for me. and I've done a lot of research during COVID. That's where I learned all of this. Um, that people make really good money off of blogs
Yeah.
still through advertisers, sponsorships, affiliate sales. So I also have that on its own. And we're integrating that slowly more into my social media. And I'm finding like actually a lot of people are interested in. I was very surprised, like how
Mm-hmm.
many people are very interested in like the articles we're writing, the things we're talking about. Um, so I have another VA and she helps me out on all of that. Like we go through like what blog post are we going to talk about, like what videos that I've created in the past, like how we're going to turn them into blog posts. Um, and we find in our DMs too, it helps a lot with our community, like with our community, because they'll be asking us like such in-depth questions and we can direct them there and be like, all your answers can be answered right there. So she helps me with all of those things. I have an editor as well now. So yeah, so there's really a whole team that goes behind this. It's not just me on my own anymore, which I'm very grateful because it was very stressful trying to do all of it,
Yeah.
like handle all avenues. And it was really hard for me to give up everything and trust other people because I kept thinking in my head, well, they're not going to do it like how I did it. But I had to realize like I was really burnt out. So I was only putting like 50% of my energy into all these different tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm giving it to one person, and to fulfill like all the different buckets, like at least they're giving 90% of their energy, and that's way better than 50% of what I was do like me giving my 50%. So
For sure.
oh yeah. So a lot of my days now look like me on Mondays. I always like to send out like my team, like figure out what each of us are doing, like what videos clips do I have to get to my editor. I outline my videos for him so he knows exactly like me and him have built up a really good relationship, so he knows exactly like what I like now. It took us time to get there, but yeah, he's like amazing. And on Mondays I like will connect with everybody on our team and just kind of be like, okay, where are we at? Are we doing any new projects? Are we launching any new like video series, like stuff like that? And everybody will have their dedicated like tasks for the week. And then usually at that point, like I'll have things I'll have to provide for them to complete their job. So then I'll work on like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'll try my best to like provide them everything they need so they can complete everything by the end of the week. And then the second half of the week is like more brand communications, like what content do I need to film, like planning that out. I always like to plan out all my content.
Mm-hmm.
And like not scripted or anything, just ideas. Like
Mm-hmm.
is like it's summertime, so like what summertime hairstyles am I doing? Like what kind of like wash routine am I showing? Like those types of things. I always like to plan that out so that I can batch everything in one day. And then also like I will like take a look at like what brand deals I have going on and then batch that as well and like try and get it all done towards the end of the week and get everything uploaded. And so it's a lot what people don't realize, it's a lot of admin heavy versus like actually filming the content. Mm.
Absolutely. No, for sure. So, do you work with an agency or do you do all your brand deals by yourself?
So I recently actually just signed, literally 2 months ago, and again, it was so hard for me to do this
Yeah.
with an agency. It's a smaller, like boutique agency. She actually reached out to me, and I felt pretty connected to her, and I was like, okay, I feel like it's trustworthy. Like, everything seems ethical, because like a lot of other agencies, like who's reached out to me in the past, they kind of gave me like the vibes weren't right, the energy, and I was like, I don't think it's for me. Yeah, so like we're kind of trying to transition with each other right now. Also, I'm still handling a lot of my brand deals because it's things I had going on and before she came on, and then she's kind of starting to take over everything. So
Yeah, that's I've actually been considering doing that as well. I don't know. I can't I'm kind of like you. I'm having a hard time letting go of everything. I still do everything by myself. Literally every single thing I do is me, and which is insane. Um
yeah.
it's absolutely insane and it's sad. I think I'm just really used to feeling stressed out, but I know that's not good.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. Like I was kind of like to my sisters, I was like, I have time for myself. And like my friends, I was like, do you want to do this now? And
Yeah, you're
like
like
try
you're
to
like, what
like
do I do with all this time?
do. Yeah, and I was just like, wow, does this what like not being stressed out 24/7 feels like? Like I haven't felt that way in like 3 years, and I was just like, wow, like what do I do? So
I know.
yeah,
You're making me have like hope that there's a way out. Okay, so I
there
want to
is.
I want to ask you more about too like the like struggles if you've seen any with like do you ever get any mean comments or anything like that on your page?
I'm actually really, like, honestly, really grateful that I have a pretty nice community.
Mhm.
Like, there's been like one or two in the past where I've seen like just like saying things like, "Oh, what I'm recommending is false. She's just getting paid to say that. Like, she doesn't actually care. She just wants to make money." Like all of those things. I've gotten like a couple of those, and like a couple of like just and like some really rude comments about like me posting my work, like client work, of their hair being like, "Oh, her hair looks like trash," and things like that. And I was like, "Oh, thanks." Like, I was like, only worked 8 hours on it. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like trash. So I'm just like, I've gotten a couple here and there, but to be honest, like 90% of my community is very positive, and I try and not read a lot of it.
Mhm.
Like I will read it, I'll read the DMs, I'll like glance over it and all of that. But if it's something super negative and I start like reading the first line, I'm like, oh, not for me. And I'll like, immediately like try to delete it, block it. I was like, because that's just not the like community I want here.
Yeah.
And
That's how I feel too. Luckily, I mean, I do like you said get a few here and there, but luckily for the most part I don't and I'm hopefully that doesn't change because I know that not everyone's so lucky. But also with the like you doing a lot of camera facing videos, I know you said you batch out your content. Do you like what I find with batching is, which we have totally different hair types, but like I feel like I can only do a couple of videos in a day if I'm doing like styling things. How do you stay organized with that?
yeah, so when I'm doing like styling things, what I'll try my best and do, so like I don't fry my hair off.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing too. You have to be like so mindful. I'll try and do like, okay, if I know I'm like gonna wash my hair that day for like the whole video, so like I will try and do like a video as in like me blow drying my hair out. So that's like one styling video, like doing a blowout using rollers, something like that. And then like the second video would be like me curling my hair, like either curling it with a regular curling iron, a wand, and then I'll try and do like two like hairstyle types videos because my hair is now like blow dried or curled. So like, half up, half down, like doing like a trendy hairstyle, something like that. So I'll always try and do like two hairstyles or like wave it, crimp it, like something like that. Like two hairstyles, then like two educational videos or something like that, and then like two like styling videos, like where I'm like doing a hairstyle. And what I like to do, what I started doing actually, was like when I'm getting ready to like go out, I'll try and like leave myself a little time if I know I'm gonna like do a cute hairstyle with my hair, or even just like touch it up or curl it or something. I'll try and leave enough time where like I can just quickly like pop the camera in my bathroom or something. Like now I kind of like have gotten to the point where it's like I don't really care if my background is cute, amazing. Like as long as nothing's in the background, I'm good. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna film as long as the lighting is good. Because that's like at the end of the day, what matters is like the lighting and the quality of the video.
Do you film
Um,
on your phone?
yeah, I film everything on my phone. I tried to transition to a camera at one point and I just didn't like it. And
I
like
didn't
it's not
either.
convenient. Yeah. And like I just find it so much more convenient with the phone.
Do you use
So
your front facing camera or the back?
the back now. I used to when I started out, I was using the front. And
So do you like put it in front of a mirror? That's something that I'm wanting to try. I use the front camera now, but I know the back's better. I just need to like get in the routine. Once you get in a routine
mhm,
of something, it's hard to break it, but I need to get in the routine of putting it in front of a
yeah.
mirror so I can see and make sure I'm in frame.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like, it was so hard for me to like start doing it, and I kept like having to be like, look at the camera, don't look at the mirror. Like, and I
Yeah.
had to like train my eyes like not to like glare away. But yeah, like like once you start doing it, like you can't turn back. Like you'll look at the quality and be like, okay, this is so much
So
better.
much better. So what
Yeah.
artificial light, or do you use an artificial light?
So I usually, if I'm in like my room filming, I'll usually film it all like with natural lighting. Then when it kind of hits like the winter here where I live, like obviously we lose sunlight and it's like usually always cloudy here. So I'll usually just use artificial light in my bathroom, and I'm just lucky. Like I have really good pot lights in my bathroom, and the iPhone camera does a good job of like cutting out like the harshness of the pot lights. But if I'm filming like in my like little studio setup, like with my sink and my chair, I have two studio lights there. And like I wasn't using the studio lights because I was still trying to like figure out how to position them, and then I switched over to them, and it made such a big difference. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was like night and day. I was like, I should have been doing this forever.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll have to get links to the lights you use if people want those. I feel like people are going to be like, we need artificial light, just because it's such a hit or miss, you know?
yeah, you never know what you're getting.
Mm-mm.
And like I would always like I had like one winter when it was like such a bad winter and like there was no sun, like it was cloudy all the time. I'm like, okay, I need to figure this out because I can't keep waiting for like a clear day. So I kind of tried to transition into my bathroom, and it like worked out a lot better than I thought it was. I'm like, this actually looks really good. And so now I try to have like two alternative places like I could film in. And but yeah. And for the front facing camera, yeah, I just put it in front of another mirror, and then I'll like kind of like look off to the side just to make sure I'm like centered in everything. And like I've learned to become really good at like doing my hair without me actually having to look.
Yes, no, it's like we become more talented as time goes on. What about like your like outfits and stuff? Do you plan those in advance? Do you stick to a color palette? Like how do you think about that when it comes to branding?
Yeah, no, I don't really stick to anything to be honest. And I think it's just like I always loved fashion, like growing up and everything like that. So I was like always looking for new trends and like all of those things. So I feel like whatever I just think is cute. I'm like for brand deals and stuff, I'll stick to just like basic like bodysuits, basic t-shirts, like that type of stuff. Like so if I'm like lifting up my arm, like I don't like showing like my stomach and those things
Right.
like that. Like I don't want that there for the brand deals. So those types of things, I'll try and stick to like basics. Then like when it's just my own content, I'll try and like switch it up. Like if I just bought like a really cute sweater, I'll wear it. Like there's no rhyme or reason. And it's just yeah, what's in style and what's in season that time.
Hmm.
And I try my best to link everything out because I do get a lot of questions asked, but yeah.
So do you have a like to know it too?
Yeah, I have a like to know it, and I do post like mainly it's all hair stuff. But I've been trying to be better and post like the links for my clothing as well.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And do you run that or does somebody else do that?
my VA who helps me with like my captions, like editing, like all of that stuff, she grabs the links and puts it on there for me. Before I was trying to do it and like batch everything out, and it was working at the time, but I just wasn't consistent enough. And I was just like, you know the struggle on
I
how.
know, but I'm like, I don't know. I've got to get some help. Like the more I listen, you're like, yeah, I have someone helping me. And I'm like, golly, I just can't imagine. Like, I truly just can't imagine what I would feel like if I did that. It's just finding the right person.
That no, that's literally it. It took me like four tries to find like the person I have right
So you
now.
went through like four
Oh,
different people.
yeah, like I interviewed a bunch of people and I'm just like I have to make a decision. Like I can't keep doing this. And then I was like, but I'm not vibing with anybody. Like I just don't feel like comfortable enough to give them this part of my business. And then one night I was just like, oh, let's just type in like virtual assistant on like Instagram, and like she popped up. And I was just like, I wonder if she's like still even doing it because her profile wasn't like that active. And I did DM her, and she's like, yeah, actually, she's like, I'm starting back up like in January. I was like, perfect. And like we entered, like talked with her. I was like, okay, she seems like a really good fit. Like she had a background already in marketing. And like she was actually working for like a marketing agency. So I was like, okay, like it seems like a pretty good fit. And then I kind of just had to trust the process. And I think like what people don't realize, and I didn't realize this when hiring on my VAs, was like the first 3 to 4 months is going to be like a transitional time
Yeah.
where like you're going to have to put in a lot of work. Like, hey, you're going to have to be like what I did for her, because I was like, I don't know like how to show her how things work in my brain. So what I did was like I literally like screen recorded like my iPhone and me like showing her exactly like how I type out a caption, what type of hashtags I use typically, like how I uploaded, like how I grabbed the links, like I screen recorded like everything, uploaded it for her. So she had like a visual, and I wasn't like, she was like, okay. And she said it was a lot more helpful
Mm-hmm.
doing it that way. Okay, so I really like spent the time and and like we met like weekly for the first like 3 months, just like so me and her felt comfortable with everything.
Like
Yeah.
touch base and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
Yeah.
super. I think the recording, most people are visual learners and especially in like the creative industry. So I think that's a really smart tip. And then with your editor, so like your TikToks and your Instagram reels and stuff now, like someone else edits those for you?
Yeah, someone else does edit them for me. Like I'll step in here and there, and like when he sends back the videos, sometimes like I'll get him to like make the video a little bit longer, and then like I'll just go in and um like cut it down a little bit depending on like what I want to show and what I don't want to show. But like yeah, I was again really lucky with him. They actually had experience doing like some hair content. And in the past. So and worked for like I think they did he did have like another hair creator at one point. So I was like lucky that he kind of understood like the background of everything already. But then like I kind of had to figure out, okay, like how can I tell him like step by step? Because no offense, he's a guy. I know he
Yeah.
doesn't know like what curling the bottom, then curling the top, and then like using a hair roller. Like I'm like, okay, how do I break this up in like simple terms? And then yeah, so like our flow now, like what we come to like a good understanding is like we'll do like a Google Doc. We'll write like I'll literally just break it down like each video, and it does take me a little bit longer the process, but I find like when he does the video, like we have no revisions. Like he just sends it to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, perfect." Like I rather that than have to go back to him 4 times and be like, "Hey, like you missed this part, or this part is not really supposed to be like this." Like it just makes life easier. So like we have a Google Doc. I literally like type out the video name, then I just type out like how long I want the video to be. Like, is this one going to be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute? And then in the shot list, like I'll be like clip one, like opening clip, like me like playing with my hair or something like that. Clip two, me showing the shampoo, the texture of the shampoo, like for a brand deal. And then like I'll keep going down like hey, and like just write out each clip, and then I'll upload all my clips to like a Google Drive and like folders and stuff. He'll go in, edit it, send it back to me. I'll prove it all. Well, then I'll go in and just like go into CapCut and stuff like that, and like tweak the video to like my liking. If there is any tweaks I need to
Mm-hmm.
make, and then yeah, add my captions like throughout the videos, photos, pop-ups, like anything like that. Like he can do like add in all those things, but that's just me being a little controlling again.
No,
Like,
I totally get that for
yeah.
sure. When it comes to like inspiration, just because I know people listening are going to be curious, like I get asked in my classes all the time how I stay inspired. So, do you have any tips for anybody on that?
Yeah, I think more for me, like me being inspired is like I'm a product junkie. Like I
Mm-hmm.
love the new products, I love new hair tools. So like my inspiration is like, oh, something like new launched, like I really want to try it out. Like, and then how can I incorporate this in like a fun way that people are actually gonna like want to watch?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it by doing like a styling video, then incorporating it and talking about the product, being like, it's new, how do I feel about it? That type of thing. I kind of like pull inspiration from that, like trends. Then I also just like pull inspiration from like what people are asking for and looking back at my old content and being like, okay, I talked about an oily scalp and like recommendations for shampoos. That did really well. Like, and I know people are interested in that. So like, how can I make it into more videos? Like, how can I expand on it? How can I make it give them more of that topic? So those
Mm-hmm.
are like kind of where I pull like my inspiration from.
Do you have like a designated time where you like sit down and schedule to do that, or do you just like periodically look back through?
No, I periodically, I'm like, it would be like the randomest times too. I'll be like, oh, this might be a good video. I'm like, I'll have like a notes page in my phone, and like I'll just type down like maybe
Yeah.
do this. Like, yeah, like it'd just be so random. Yeah.
So do you like I know you turn your stuff into an editor, but like me, like a lot of times I'll film a video in the morning and I'll upload it in the afternoon. Like do you ever do that, or like how quick is your turnaround time?
So usually my turnaround time, like if I want to do something like that, like if it's like a haircut video or like something just like very trendy, like I'll just do it myself. I'll be like, okay, I'll do it. Our turnaround time, like he's pretty good. Like me and him have like a really good relationship now. So if I'm like to him, like, hey, I need these five videos back by like Friday, could you do it for me? Like usually he's able to turn it back around in a couple of days. Um, it's all just based on like now I think because we have a really good relationship, he's able to like get things done super fast, and he knows like my videos, like how like I like it done. So yeah, it just depends. Like sometimes we can get a video turned around like 2 days a day
Mm-hmm.
if we have to for like a brand or something's like going on. But yeah, so I usually like to give him like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you use like Trello or Asana or anything to organize your stuff, or how do you do that?
I do like everything on Google Drive. Like
Okay.
everything.
But like
Yeah,
when
like
you said earlier, like you keep track of your brand deals and stuff, like do you do that
oh
in like a
yeah.
Google sheet or something?
Yeah, I do it all on an Excel spreadsheet, like a
Okay.
Google sheet. Yeah, I find it easier. Like I try to use like Asana. I try to
I can't
use
use those things.
Notion. Like I can't use it. Like I end up going back and writing it all out. So I'm like, what's the point of me like trying to use these things?
No, I'm happy
Yeah.
to hear that. I do all my stuff too in everything in Google, and I've tried so many times just because I know a lot of people find success with those
Mhm.
apps, and I think it goes back to just like how our brains work and how we create and what works best for us. I don't think that there's a right or wrong for anyone. If it works, it works.
Yeah, exactly. Like I tried to like I tried so many times. I'm like, okay, now that I have a team, like it would be easier if it's all here. I'm like, no, it doesn't work for my brain. And I was like, it's like I'm forcing myself to like make it work. And I'm like, no. The one tool I do use a lot like is actually Toggle. It's like
Okay.
a time management tool that a lot of like small businesses use for like startups and stuff. I have a couple friends like who work for small businesses and they actually have to use it at work. And it like tracks like how long it takes to do a project, how long like you literally it's like just a timer and it will tell you like at the end of the day how much you worked and like what percentage were on emails, what percentages were on projects. And I find because I'm a very like visual person and like very goal orientated, like seeing that number at the end of the day is very satisfying to me. And
For
I'm
sure.
like, yeah, I'm like, okay, I worked 5 hours today. I got everything done. I feel satisfied. Like I can walk away because like, working for yourself, like you just feel like you have to work 24/7.
Yes.
And yeah, so I started actually doing that like I want to say like a couple months ago. So I've been doing it consistently for 3 months. And ever since I started, I feel like a lot more relieved walking away from work
Like
now.
you can kind of turn
So
it off.
yeah, and I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, you did it. Like, you're good
You
to
just
go.
you
Like, you
deserve you
actually,
deserve a little break.
yeah, a break. Yeah.
Okay, so last question is I know a lot of people listening would love to work with brands, and that's another thing I get asked a lot. What would be some like starter things people could do to get noticed by brands in your opinion, or do you recommend reaching out to brands, waiting for them to reach out to you? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, like just being very proactive really helps. Like until you kind of get into that position of like you're finding brands are reaching out to you a lot. That like what I used to do is I used to like brands that I was like already using, very interested in. I'd kind of like go onto their page, start liking things, leaving comments, and like genuine comments. Like I am genuinely excited about this new product you're launching. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
personally gonna go buy it. So I would like actually leave those comments. And then what I kind of started to do, I would start to get noticed a little bit by leaving those comments, liking, and I'd see the brand would like, start liking my stuff, like following me back. So I'm like, okay. And then another step up from that is like I would kind of DM them with like a small little pitch being like, hey, like, I love your product. I'm currently using like X, Y, and Z, and like my community loves it. Like I've heard good feedback. I also love it. Like I'd love it if I could connect to somebody like in the PR team, if like there's an email, something like that. And then majority of the time they will like respond back and be like, hey, that's amazing. Like we've seen your content. Um, Here's like the email. And then I'll take the email and I will like go out and pitch to them,
Mm-hmm.
and just like a small little like intro email just being like, hey, this is me, I love your product, like this is the product, and I try to be very like personable.
Yeah.
Well, and I find like that helps, like when you try to be personable, and even if you haven't used the product, sometimes I'll be like, oh, like why your product interests me so much. Like I literally just did this like at the beginning of this week. I was like to a hair tool company. I think they have like LED infrared lights in like the curling iron. I was like, yeah, I was really drawn to your product because like I've heard the benefits of like how well that is for your hair and all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
they were like, and even though I haven't used the tool yet, like I did get a response back and they're like, oh, we're like happy to hear, and like things like that. So being like personable in that kind of sense. Like it doesn't even have to be like you writing a paragraph. It's literally like a one
Just
liner.
making that connection.
Yeah. And yeah, I think like that really helps, because I've heard a lot of people tell me too, like when I tell them, like I usually get a really good response rate from my pitches, even if it doesn't lead to a brand deal or it doesn't lead to anything. Being like, I do still get a response. So I'm like, okay, they know who I am. So hopefully, like
Something
I
will
could
come
build,
later.
yeah, and that's what you have to understand too. Like it takes time to build those
For sure.
relationships.
I totally agree. I think that, certain brands that I wanted to work with forever, it took like a year before I finally got a deal. So I think just like you
Mm-hmm.
said, making yourself seen and known and noticed. And, I even
Yeah.
suggest sometimes like if you have a tool or a product that that brand has, if you already have it and use it, you could even create a video and post it on your page and then get their attention that way. Like
Yeah.
everything doesn't have to be paid at first to lead to paid opportunities.
Yeah. And I think that's also too like why um I I've seen success with brand deals too, because like I like it doesn't have to be paid. The purpose
Yeah.
is not to be paid. It's because I genuinely want to try the product or I like it. And then a lot of them say like, we like that. Like we like that authenticity. Like that's why we're working with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just like tagging the product, like the the brand. Like I've been using a blow dry and round brush for so long, and I've been tagging them for so long, and like trying to reach out, and like I still have not heard from them, got a response back, but like I'm still going to use their product. I don't really care if I get paid or not because I just really like it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Staying
mm,
genuine. No, I think that you
yeah,
shared so many amazing tips. And I know that
thank you.
this topic is just one that a lot of people are interested in. And it's kind of just like the unknown, the unfamiliar stuff in the industry. So I think people are going to find it very beneficial. And I will put in the description, we'll get your blog listed, and you have some like courses I know, and we'll list all your channels out so people can find you. And I just thank you again for sharing all of this stuff.
No problem. I know it's just such a like even like when I was first getting in the industry, like I was like always trying to YouTube, like watch like, okay, what do people do? Like, are there other hair influencers? Like, are they showing behind the scenes? Like, I actually have like a secret behind the scenes stories account that I only try and open up like once a year or twice a year, and I show more behind the business, like what I'm doing daily, like what I'm trying, new strategies I'm trying out for the company, and like all that stuff. So I
That's awesome.
will try and open it up in January again. It's just because it's a lot of work to add everybody manually.
Yeah, like a close
Yeah.
friends list.
Yeah, like a close friends list.
So
And it's just like,
will that be on your story when you open it?
yeah, it will be on my stories. Like I'll
Okay.
just pop it up there. Like I've tried to do it like twice a year, like open
Okay.
it up. It like I just said, it's just so much manual work with the amount of people. But we've been getting really good feedback, just trying to show like the behind the scenes of everything.
For
Because people
sure.
think like it's such a glamorous life, which like we get so many amazing opportunities, don't get me wrong, and I'm very
But
grateful, but
it's not glamorous.
it's not it's not like
No.
yeah.
Very grateful, but not glamorous.
Glamorous. Yeah. Yeah. Thank
No,
you.
I totally get it. Okay. Thank you again.